I forgot, I'm not married. I don't know about you viewers at home, but I feel so much better. So, for trivia on Batman Returns, here's Tash.
I apologise if I get this wrong, but Annette Bening was originally cast as Catwoman but became pregnant.
Awkward.
That seems to be quite an act nowadays. Max Schreck was named after the actor who starred in the Nosferatu the Vampire.
Yeah, the silent film version, and because they didn't own the copyrights, they had to change the characters' names. So, it's basically a silent movie version of Dracula. So.
The bold Dracula. How attractive is that?
Yes, but you can't forget the silhouette with the names.
Oh god, ugh.
Good.
One can try. Sean Young, who desperately wanted to play Catwoman, dressed up as a character and broke into the studio. That is perseverance.
Yes, apparently a lot of people thought that she did ambush Tim Burton, but he stated that he wasn't there, and I think he's glad that he wasn't.
Yeah, no, I would be. Paul Rubin Pee-wee returned for a cameo to play the Penguin's father.
And also the actress who played, what is her name? Simone from Pee-wee's Big Adventure, who was playing the Penguin's mother as well.
Once again, perseverance.
I'm sorry. Okay, so, where do I start with Batman Returns? Okay, well maybe, I know what a lot of you are gonna say. Like, what is your opinion compared to the first Batman? And therefore, which one do you prefer? Now, looking back on it, like, I remember watching, like, the behind-the-scenes thing, and I know that Tim originally kind of was like, look, I've done Batman, kind of want to move on, you know, fair enough, and they said, but obviously, Warner Brothers, because Batman did so well, was like, we want you back, we want you back, we want you back. And I think the thing that swayed him was the fact that, look, just imagine it's one of your own movies, don't worry about the marketing, you can do whatever you want, and that pretty much... So, and yeah, I do agree, Batman Returns is a bit more Burton-esque, shall we say. So you probably think, oh, because it's more Tim Burton, do I prefer this than the first Batman? Well, kind of, really it's one of those, between these two films, it depends on what kind of mood that I'm in. So it's kind of like the first two Alien movies. If I want horror and atmosphere, I watch the first Alien movie. If I want to see the action, I see Aliens. So for these two Batman films, I usually say if I want a fun comedy with good action and a heart to it, then I go to the Batman movie. But if I want something a little bit more dramatic, a little more psychological, I go for Batman Returns. And so, you know, it kind of depends on what mood I'm in. So that makes sense. So anyway, but what I really appreciate about this, and particularly coming from the same director, and I think it still really works, is the fact that it's still Batman. It's still the characters that we know. It's still in Gotham City. You know, it's still got that kind of look. But at the same time, it's sort of a little bit different. It's not like we're watching the first one again, just with different characters. I felt like, you know, I liked the fact that the tone was just a little bit different. And, you know, it was just kind of... It felt not like, you know, so different from, like, I couldn't recognize it. But, like, just a little bit, just to give us something else, like something extra. And so that's what I really love about it. So for example, you know, Gotham, it still looks like hell, still looks like New York put in the wrong hands, much like the first film, but it's set in Christmas time. There's snow everywhere, and so it just gives that a little bit of a difference. And the idea of putting it in Christmas really works. Not only does it look great, but it just gives that sort of cold feeling that really sort of adds to, like, you know, kind of a bit more of the psychological side, and the fact that, you know, the Penguin's involved in the story, so snow would make great sense. And, you know, and just the idea of, you know, it gives a more opportunity for shadows, you know, so, you know, Catwoman wandering around, so, you know, and again, it gives it a much more of a sort of animalistic approach in that sense, because basically all our three characters are representing animals, so, you know, and at the same time, you know, I really have to appreciate the visual effects here. No CG whatsoever. It was all stunts, you know, forced perspective, blah, 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 you know, animatronics, real life penguins, real cats, you know, it was like, you know, and even with the first one, so I really appreciate the fact that it was, like, no CG, like, at all. Like, even in the first movie, like, it was mostly, I think it was mostly, like, hand-drawn animation to do it, and I think that, you know, some people might say that looks a bit dated, but honestly it gives more of that comic book feel to me, so I really like that. Okay, so going back to Batman Returns, so I've already talked about the environment, thought it was great. Okay, let's talk about, I'm gonna go from, let me think. Okay, let's start with Batman for a start. Let's start with Batman. Okay, so, because obviously he is, like, I thought to a minute, oh, so this is a film where everyone knows who he is, they're finally going to use the signal now, you know, everyone will not know who he is, but, you know, he's their hero, he's their hero now. But it's like, oh, is he going to make more public appearance and all that kind of thing? Actually, no. In fact, after the first fight scene, you know, he just disappears, and then Commissioner Gordon turns around and is like, oh, where'd he go? And I was like, yes, it's still Batman, that's great, he's still hiding in the shadows, that's great. You know, he doesn't want anything to do with the general public, he doesn't want to show himself off, he just goes in, does his job, and then leaves, you know, it's like, it's great, I really love that. And at the same time, there's a little bit more of a exploration on, you know, sort of the character and the kind of fucked up quality about him, you know, which I love. That's probably why he's my favorite superhero, and why I love these villains so much. I don't know. I just love these characters. So he was great. Michael Keaton still could do those serious scenes as well, and so he was still pretty good. I still think he's the best Batman. Then, okay, let's go on to Christopher Walken as Max Schreck. Now, one of the things that a lot of people kind of go to me, and they do ask me, why was he named after the actor who played Nosferatu in the silent movie? Because his name was actually Max Schreck. Well, when you really look at it closely, I mean, maybe I'm completely going wrong here, but basically his plan is to build a power plant, suck out more energy, so it's kind of like he's sucking out the energy of Gotham. So in some cases, it's like sucking the blood out of it. He's like a blood-sucking vampire, and so that's what I always get out of it. So to me, I always think that he's like the proper villain, and the fact that he's only got one weakness, which is his son. And, you know, the fact, you know, and again, it's Christopher Walken, I mean, you know, he's usually the bad guy, and he's just, I always find it really funny, but also threatening at the same time, so it's like that. Okay, let's move on to Danny DeVito as the Penguin. I heard this, obviously saw his name on the DVD, and I was like, oh yeah, I probably wouldn't have picked anyone else to play the Penguin, because, you know, like, I love Danny DeVito. I you know, he's funny and he's great, and he can do really charming things. I've seen a few films that he's directed as well, so, you know, he's a multi-talented person. And a lot of people kind of ask me about, like, you know, sort of comparing, like, this. I know that. Sorry, my finger is bleeding. Odd. People wanted to ask me about what did I think of the design. Because it was Stan Winston who designed the look of the Penguin. Stan Winston, well, he's great, you know. I mean, hey, he's designed the Scissorhands for Edward Scissorhands. Come on. And well, he's Wonder with monsters. So I think I like the idea that I sort of think the idea of a human being a penguin. I don't know, I just wouldn't think it's kind of, oh, that's cute. Yeah, I kind of see more of the dark side of it, which is weird because I love penguins. I freaking love penguins. You know, like every time I like see baby emperor chicks, I just go, oh, you know, I fall for them, I really do. But at the same time, look, you got a Batman villain who looks like a penguin, who was born that way. I kind of expect the more grotesque version of it. And he looks real, the makeup is awesome, you know, and it's really good. And I just like you know, I like the idea of his backstory that they gave. I think they just gave him a little bit more of a character than he did. I think even Bob Kane knew that the Penguin didn't really have that much going on, so I think they sort of gave him a bit more of a character. And also they gave more of a character to Catwoman. Let's move on to one of my favorite film characters. She is right up there with one of my favorite characters in film in general, Catwoman. Now usually when I do speak to people, even when they say, well, I'm not a huge fan of Batman Returns, I mean, I don't mind it, the one element that everyone says is good is Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. And yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't even know where to begin with this character. I think it was that element of surprise again. The fact that I had no idea a comic book character could be this complex, and they really transformed her character, and I think people have really favored her over the years, and still, I usually say, like, oh, who do you think's the best Catwoman, and they always go Michelle Pfeiffer, and I'm like, yeah. Yeah. I think the only other version of Catwoman that I didn't mind was the animated series one. She was okay, but like at the same time, like Michelle Pfeiffer's just she's so good. I'm really trying to work out like what it is that I like about her. I think it's just the fact that that sort of split personality thing, and the fact that, you know, she's, you know, she knows what she doesn't want to be, but yet she doesn't know what she wants to be, and it's like, you know, a lot of people still debate whether she's a good guy or a bad guy, and I always say, I think she's good at heart, but it's like she wants to prove herself, or just kind of, she does things her own way, it just happens to be sometimes a bad way, and so, you know, that kind of clashes with Batman's ethics, and so it's just like, and I love the romance between them, it's great, you know. It's just, she's just such a great character. I love the costume that introduced Tim to the theme of stitching. My God, I can't speak today. Stitching. A lot of people debate where he got that, but he usually says, I got it from the costume of Catwoman. And yeah, you know, I love the idea that the costume kind of keeps getting more and more damaged as the film goes on, kind of symbolizing her getting a bit more damaged, and it's great. The ending, the final show, you know, I don't know how to put it into words. It's like, it's one of those performances and one of those characters that are so good that you just have to watch it in order to understand what I'm going on. It's kind of like Edward Scissorhands. Trying to explain that movie, it's like, no, that movie is just too good, you can't put it into words, just watch it. You know, it's kind of like that. And yeah, her performance is pretty much like that. I mean, you know, the others did a well done job. It's just that I think people were just so surprised with the transformation of Catwoman. And yes, live bird in her mouth. How the fuck can she do that? You know, it's like give credit for her just for that. You know, and yeah, I think, you know, again, a lot of people kind of look at me going, well, you know, it sounds like you really, really, really love this version. But again, I love the first version of Batman as well. I think they're both different from each other, but they still feel the same. It's still Batman. It's still the same characters. It's still the same Gotham City that we see. It's just a little bit different. Gives us a little bit more of a kind of a different tone than the previous. So I feel like I'm not watching the same thing. And that's what I love about it. And the best thing about it, and I think this is pretty much what made Warner Brothers kind of kick Burton out of the Batman franchise, you know, is the fact that, you know, I love the fact that his Batman films are probably, they are not marketable. Like, even with the first film, like, yeah, Batman is always going to be marketable. You just slap on, you know, the symbol and, yeah, you know, there's your product, you know. If you put like a Joker face on it, there you go, instant product there. But I never felt like, even with the first film, I never felt like it was for marketing. I felt that he was just making a movie out of it. It just happened to be of this very famous superhero, and so as a newcomer, and the fact that it was being told as a movie, that's what I get behind it. And again, Batman Returns was the same in that sense. And, you know, because the marketing wasn't doing very well, that's why they kicked him off, and that's why these god-awful of the movies came around, and yeah, I'm not even gonna go there. So, and made it more kid-friendly and stuff. God! Okay, I think, you know, but that's what I get behind Burton's films. Batman films, anyway. Like, they are just, well, actually, all of his films, and I think that's just what makes him a great director. I never see him think about the marketing. He just makes a movie. That is what directors are supposed to do. They're supposed to think about the movie, you know, and that's what I always get behind it. I never think it's a corporate sellout, even if there is a lot of merchandise to do it. You know, I saw, you know, there's a lot of merchandise on Nightmare Before Christmas. There was a lot for Alice in Wonderland. There were, you know, everyone was talking about how much there were for the two Batman movies, you know, fine. But at the same time, like, you know, he was kind of like, oh, that's just film, I'm just gonna focus on what I'm doing. He focuses on his job, he focuses on the movie, that is what they're supposed to do. So I really appreciate him just for that. And so for these movies that came out, you know, I give so much credit to him, and again, like, still technically being a newcomer to the directing job and being landed with these two Batman movies, I give him so much credit for that as well, you know. You know, like, I wouldn't know where to begin. I'd just be like, okay, I don't know. So I give him huge credit for that, and like, so I think deciding which Batman movies you're gonna watch, if you want something a little bit more fun, a little bit more comical, you want to see the Joker, you want to see a good action movie, first one. If you want to see something a little bit more serious, a little bit more psychological, a little more kind of, a little bit more, I would say it is darker than the first one, but everyone has their arguments, so I won't go against that. Then go see Batman Returns. But both of them are really, really good, and yeah. Thanks for watching my review, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!